Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are taking a journey today through what is honestly one of the most fascinating pieces of ancient literature ever composed, the Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam. Now, if you've ever heard it, you know it's this incredibly dense, 34-minute continuous Sanskrit chant. To the untrained ear, it can kind of just sound like an overwhelming wall of sound. But stick with me, because by the end of our time together today, you're going to see exactly how masterfully architected this ancient masterpiece really is.
Okay, let's dive right into this by grounding ourselves in exactly what that title actually means. The word Sahasra translates to thousand, and Nama means names. Put those together, and you have a sacred ancient Hindu text that meticulously lists the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, who is the preserver of the universe in Hindu theology. But as we'll see today, calling it a list totally undersells it. It's actually a complete masterclass in focusing the human mind. So here is our roadmap for the explainer. We'll be breaking the text down into 5 distinct phases, starting with the ultimate spiritual quest, moving into preparing the mind, then we'll hit the 1,000 divine names, check out the fruits of devotion, and finally, look at the concluding blessings.
All right, phase 1, the ultimate spiritual quest, beginning with Yudhishthira's inquiry.
What's absolutely crucial to understand right out of the gate is the context. The chant doesn't just start with a random list of names out of nowhere. It actually begins as a really deep philosophical dialogue set in the immediate aftermath of a devastating, world-shattering war. King Yudhishthira turns to his wise elder, Bhishma, and asks some incredibly profound questions. He literally asks, who is the one supreme deity? What is the ultimate goal? And by chanting, what is a creature freed from the cycle of birth and the bonds of the world? These are massive existential questions, right? And they act as the driving narrative engine for the entire chant that follows. Everything we're about to see is the direct answer to this exact inquiry. Which brings us to phase 2, preparing the mind through invocation and dhyanam.
So Bhishma is ready to answer Yudhishthira, but engaging with this level of spiritual truth requires some intense preparation. The text actually shifts here from a dialogue into strict instructions for entering a highly structured meditative state. It instructs the reciter to systematically align themselves before they even think about chanting a single name. First up is the invocation, which is all about seeking the removal of any obstacles. Then comes nyasa, which is this really ancient practice of energetic alignment where specific sounds are mapped to different parts of the body. And finally, we reach dhyanam, which is the deep, immersive visualization of the deity.
And the specific dhyanam verse used, Shantakaram Pujigashayanam Padmanabham Suresham, is incredibly powerful. It uses this rich, evocative imagery to forcefully focus the wandering mind. You're asked to visualize a perfectly peaceful deity resting upon a cosmic serpent, with a lotus sprouting from his navel, ruling as the Lord of gods. It just beautifully anchors the mind right before the heavy lifting begins.
Now for phase 3, the core chant itself, the 1,000 divine names.
With the mind fully focused and the body aligned, the actual list begins. And wow, the opening names are just breathtaking in their scope. The chant kicks off with Vishwashvam, meaning the universe itself, then Vishnu, the all-pervading, and Vashatkara, the one for whom all cosmic sacrifices are performed. In just those first 3 beats, boom, the text instantly defines the deity on this massive, sweeping cosmic scale. It's telling the reciter exactly how vast the subject matter is going to be.
And as you get deeper, you realize the remaining names aren't just thrown together randomly. They systematically categorize completely different aspects of the divine. As you can see, some names define cosmic roles, like being the lord of the past, present, and future. Others ground the deity in physical attributes, like the wielder of a disc, a mace, and a bow. And still others dive straight into pure abstract concepts, praising the deity as the ultimate purifier and as purity itself. It is, quite literally, an incredibly organized taxonomy of the infinite.
I want to pause here for just a second and have us really think about the number 1,000. Consider the sheer physical and mental stamina and the perfect rhythmic pacing required to chant exactly 1,000 unique descriptive titles without breaking focus for even a second. It's a marathon of devotion and linguistic precision. It perfectly showcases exactly what the human mind is capable of when it is completely dialed in.
Moving right along to phase 4, the fruits of devotion, traditionally known as the Phala Shruti.
So once that marathon is complete, we transition into the Shwala Shruti. It's actually super common in ancient sacred texts to conclude by explicitly laying out the benefits a reciter can expect from completing the chant. And the text here makes some massive, sweeping promises. It promises freedom from fear and disease. It promises the accumulation of wealth, health, and vitality. It even promises earthly success and glory. But ultimately, it circles all the way back to the highest spiritual goal: total liberation from the endless cycle of birth and death. It's covering both our immediate earthly desires and our ultimate cosmic destiny, all in one breath. The crucial takeaway here is this profound transformation. Before engaging with the text, the human condition is described as bound by the world, completely vulnerable to disease and fear. But after the recitation, the final destination is Sukhi no Bhavanti, meaning they become happy, peaceful, and liberated. The text acts as a literal bridge, taking you from human suffering directly to spiritual liberation. And that brings us to our final phase, the concluding blessings, featuring a totally different dialogue between Shiva and Parvati.
This is where the text gives us this incredibly surprising and beautiful epilogue. The original dialogue between the king and the elder we started with, it fades away, and suddenly we're transported to a completely different conversation between two totally different divine figures. We hear Lord Shiva speaking to his consort, Goddess Parvati, and it gives her this deeply rhythmic, beautiful verse. Sri Rama Rama Ramete, Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasranama Tatulyam, Rama Nama Varanane. Now, that verse literally translates to saying that chanting the single name Rama just 3 times carries the exact same spiritual weight as chanting the entire 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. It's this stunning, beautiful irony. Think about it. After guiding you through a rigorous, dense, perfectly structured 34-minute chant, the text ends by offering you a simple 3-word shortcut that is rooted entirely in pure devotion.
Which really leaves us with this final thought to ponder. You don't have to be a theologian to appreciate the absolute genius of this text. Whether you view the Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam as a literal religious mandate or simply as an ancient masterpiece of structured poetry, its impact is completely undeniable. It forces us to ask ourselves, how does the structured, rhythmic repetition of sacred words act to shape, focus, and elevate human consciousness, even today? It is an ancient architectural wonder of the mind, and understanding its blueprint just makes it all the more incredible. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this sparks your curiosity to go out and explore more.